Welcome to our comprehensive guide on income from house property under the Income Tax Act. In this module, we'll break down the key concepts, calculations, and deductions related to income from house property. Whether you own a residential or commercial building, understanding how your property income is taxed is crucial for proper tax planning. We'll start with the basics, move through annual value determination, and cover important deductions and examples. By the end, you'll have a clear grasp of how to compute taxable income from your property and maximize your benefits under the law. Section 22 of the Income Tax Act is the charting section for income from house property. It states that the annual value of any building or land attached to it, owned by the assessee, is taxable under income from house property. However, if a portion of the property is used for business or professional purposes and the profits are chargeable to tax, that portion is excluded. The rest of the property is considered for taxation under this head. This distinction is important for property owners who use part of their premises for business while letting out or holding the rest. For tax purposes, house property includes any building or land appurtenant to that building. This means not only the structure itself but also any land attached to it, such as a garden or parking area. The key condition is ownership. If you own the building or the land attached, the income or notional value from it is taxable under this head unless it's used for your own business or profession. This broad definition ensures that various types of properties, whether residential or commercial, fall under the scope of house property income. The concept of annual value is central to taxing house property income. Even if your property is not let out or is vacant for part of the year, a notional rent called the annual value is considered taxable. The annual value is determined based on several factors, including actual rent received, municipal value, fair rent, and standard rent. This ensures that the property is taxed on its potential to earn income, not just on the actual rent collected. Understanding how annual value is calculated is essential for accurate tax computation. Several factors influence the annual value of a house property. These include the actual rent received or receivable, the municipal value determined by local authorities, the fair rent that similar properties can fetch, and the standard rent fixed under the Rent Control Act. The highest value among municipal and fair rent, subject to the standard rent ceiling, is considered the expected rent. If the actual rent received is higher, that becomes the annual value. This multi-factor approach ensures a fair and reasonable assessment for tax purposes. Municipal value is the value assigned by local municipal authorities for the purpose of levying municipal taxes. This value is often based on the annual letting value of the property and serves as a benchmark for tax calculations. Municipal value is important because it reflects the local government's assessment of your property's worth, which may differ from market rent or actual rent received. It is one of the key inputs in determining the expected rent for tax purposes. Fair rent refers to the rent that a similar property in the same or a comparable locality can fetch if let out for a year. It is an estimate based on market conditions and helps ensure that the annual value is not understated. Fair rent is especially relevant when the actual rent received is lower than what is typical for the area. By considering fair rent, tax authorities aim to assess the property at its true earning potential. Standard rent is the maximum rent that can be legally charged for a property, as fixed under the Rent Control Act. If standard rent is applicable, the expected rent for tax purposes cannot exceed this amount, even if the municipal or fair rent is higher. This provision protects tenants from excessive rent and ensures that property owners do not overstate their rental income for tax benefits. Expected rent is calculated as the higher of the municipal value and fair rent, but it cannot exceed the standard rent if applicable. This ensures that the property is not overvalued for tax purposes. For example, if the municipal value is Rs. $72,000 per month and the fair rent is Rs. $90,000 per month, but the standard rent is Rs. $80,000 per month, the expected rent is capped at Rs. $80,000 per month. This method balances market realities with legal limits. In determining the annual value, if the actual rent received or receivable is higher than the expected rent, the actual rent is taken as the annual value. This ensures that the tax reflects the true income generated from the property. Conversely, if the actual rent is lower due to vacancy or other reasons, the expected rent is used unless specific conditions apply. This approach maintains fairness and accuracy in taxation. Gross annual value, or GAV, is a key figure in property taxation. To compute GAV, first determine the expected rent and the actual rent received or receivable. The higher of these two values becomes the GAV. For example, if the expected rent is Rs. $960,000 and the actual rent is Rs. $1,200,000, the GAV is Rs. $1,200,000. This ensures that the property is taxed on its maximum income-generating potential. Let's look at a practical example. Suppose the municipal value is Rs. $20,000 per month, fair rent is Rs. $15,000 per month, and standard rent is Rs. $18,000 per month. The higher of municipal and fair rent is Rs. $20,000, but since standard rent is Rs. $18,000, the expected rent is capped at Rs. $18,000 per month. If the actual rent received is Rs. $25,000 per month, the GAV is Rs. 25,000 x 12 equals Rs. 300,000. This example shows how the calculation works in practice. Calculate the gross annual value. Follow these steps. First, find the expected rent by comparing municipal and fair rent, subject to the standard rent ceiling. Next, determine the actual rent received or receivable. The higher of these two values is the GAV. This systematic approach ensures consistency and accuracy in property income assessment. Consider a property with a municipal value of Rs. 25,000 per month, fair rent of Rs. 30,000 per month, and standard rent of Rs. 28,000 per month. The expected rent is Rs. 28,000 per month as it's the higher of municipal and fair rent but capped by standard rent. If the rent received is Rs. 35,000 per month, the GAV is Rs. 35,000 x 12 equals Rs. 420,000. This example highlights the importance of each component in the calculation. Unrealized rent refers to the portion of rental income that the property owner could not collect from the tenant. The income tax rules allow deduction of unrealized rent from the actual rent received or receivable, but only if certain conditions are met. These include bona fide tenancy, tenant vacating or being compelled to vacate, no occupation of other property by the tenant, and reasonable legal steps taken for recovery. This provision ensures fairness when rent is genuinely uncollectible. Sometimes, a property remains vacant for part or all of the year, resulting in a loss of rental income. The law allows for deduction of this loss when computing the annual value. The process involves deducting the loss due to vacancy from the higher of expected rent or actual rent received after accounting for unrealized rent. This ensures that owners are not unfairly taxed on income they did not actually receive. There are two approaches to handling loss due to vacancy: strict and purposive interpretation. The strict method deducts the vacancy loss from actual receivable rent, while the purposive method compares actual receivable rent and expected rent, then deducts the vacancy loss from the higher value. The purposive approach is preferred, as it aligns with the intent of fair taxation and is followed in practice. Determine the annual value when there is unrealized rent and vacancy. Follow these steps. First, find the reasonable receivable rent (RRR) by comparing municipal and fair rent, subject to standard rent. Next, calculate actual rent receivable by deducting unrealized rent from rent received. Then deduct the loss due to vacancy from the higher of RRR and actual rent receivable. The result is the gross annual value. This method ensures a fair and accurate assessment. After computing the gross annual value, municipal taxes paid by the owner or by the tenant on behalf of the owner are deducted to arrive at the net annual value (NAV). If the tenant pays municipal taxes to protect possession, this amount is not deductible. The NAV forms the basis for further deductions under Section 24. This step ensures that only the net income from the property is taxed. Let's walk through a complete example. Suppose the municipal value is Rs. 1,500,000, fair rent is Rs. 1,400,000, standard rent is Rs. 1,600,000, and actual rent received is Rs. 1,800,000. Unrealized rent is Rs. 450,000, and municipal taxes paid are Rs. 150,000. First, RRR is Rs. 1,500,000. Actual rent receivable is Rs. 1,350,000. The higher value Rs. 1,500,000 is the GAV. After deducting municipal taxes, the NAV is Rs. 1,350,000. This forms the basis for deductions under Section 24. Section 24 provides two main deductions from income under the head house property. First is the standard deduction, which is 30% of the net annual value. Second is the deduction for interest paid on borrowed capital used to acquire, construct, repair, renew, or reconstruct the property. These deductions help reduce the taxable income and provide relief to property owners. Standard deduction under Section 24A is a flat 30% of the net annual value. This deduction is available only for let-out or deemed let-out properties, not for self-occupied properties. It covers repairs, maintenance, and other expenses regardless of the actual amount spent. This simplifies tax calculations and provides a fair allowance for property upkeep. Section 24B allows deduction of interest paid on borrowed capital used for acquiring, constructing, repairing, renewing, or reconstructing the property. For self-occupied properties, the maximum deduction is Rs. 200,000 per year provided certain conditions are met. For let-out properties, there is no upper limit. This deduction helps property owners manage the cost of financing their property. Claim the full Rs. 200,000 deduction for self-occupied property. The loan must be taken for purchase or construction, not repair or renewal. The loan should be taken on or after April 1, 1999, and construction must be completed within 5 years from the end of the financial year in which the loan was taken. If these conditions are not met, the maximum deduction drops to Rs. 30,000. These rules ensure that the benefit is available only for genuine home buyers. Interest paid during the pre-construction period can be claimed as a deduction in 5 equal annual installments, starting from the year in which construction is completed. However, the total deduction, including regular interest, cannot exceed Rs. 200,000 per year for self-occupied properties. This provision helps spread the benefit over several years and eases the tax burden. For let-out or deemed let-out properties, there is no upper ceiling on the interest deduction under Section 24B. Interest paid during the construction period can be claimed in 5 equal installments after completion. This generous provision encourages investment in rental properties and supports property owners with large loans. According to a 2006 CBDT notification, interest on a loan taken to repay another house loan is also eligible for deduction under Section 24. This means that refinancing or restructuring your home loan does not affect your eligibility for interest deduction, as long as the funds are used for the property. Section 27 defines situations where a person is considered the deemed owner of a house property. These include transfers to a spouse or minor child without adequate consideration, holders of impartable estates, members of cooperative societies' allotted property, and those in possession under part performance of a contract. This ensures that tax liability cannot be avoided by transferring property in name only. There are exceptions to deemed ownership. For example, transfers to a spouse as part of an agreement to live apart or to a married minor daughter do not make the transferor the deemed owner. Similarly, rights acquired by way of lease for less than a year are not considered ownership. These exceptions prevent unfair taxation in specific circumstances. If an individual owns more than one residential house, only one can be treated as self-occupied at the owner's discretion. The other is deemed to be let out, and its annual value is computed accordingly. This rule prevents tax avoidance by declaring all properties as self-occupied and ensures fair taxation. Solve a problem on Section 24 deductions. Suppose you have two home loans. For H1, the loan was taken on 01/12/2004 and construction completed on 28/02/2006. For H2, loan was taken on 01/03/2005 and construction completed on 31/03/2009. Interest paid during the year is Rs. 160,000 for H1 and Rs. 220,000 for H2. Pre-construction interest is Rs. 300,000 for H1 and Rs. 450,000 for H2. For H1, the deduction is Rs. 160,000 as the house was completed within 3 years. For H2, since construction took more than 3 years, the deduction is limited to Rs. 30,000. Consider a property with municipal value Rs. 1,500,000 fair rent Rs. 1,400,000 standard rent Rs. 1,600,000 actual rent received Rs. 1,800,000 unrealized rent Rs. 450,000 and municipal taxes paid Rs. 150,000. Reasonable receivable rent is Rs. 1,500,000. Actual rent receivable is Rs. 1,350,000. The higher value Rs. 1,500,000 is the gross annual value. After deducting municipal taxes, net annual value is Rs. 1,350,000. Standard deduction at 30% is Rs. 405,000. Interest deduction is Rs. 240,000. Total deductions are Rs. 645,000, so income from house property is Rs. 705,000. Summarize the process for computing income from house property involves determining the reasonable receivable rent, adjusting for unrealized rent, deducting vacancy loss, selecting the higher value for GAV, subtracting municipal taxes for NAV, and finally applying deductions under Section 24. This structured approach ensures that all relevant factors are considered and the taxable income is accurately computed. Let's look at a tabular example. Suppose 5 owners X, Y, Z, A, and B have different values for municipal value, fair rent, standard rent, actual rent, unrealized rent, and periods of vacancy. By applying the calculation steps, we find the gross annual value and net annual value for each. This practical approach helps visualize the impact of each factor and reinforces the calculation method. Another example, consider properties with varying amounts of unrealized rent and periods of vacancy. By deducting unrealized rent from actual rent received and then adjusting for vacancy loss, we arrive at the gross annual value. After subtracting municipal taxes, we get the net annual value. This demonstrates how real-world issues like non-payment and vacancy affect taxable income. Remember, the two main deductions from net annual value are the standard deduction at 30% and interest on borrowed capital. For self-occupied properties, the interest deduction is capped at Rs. 200,000 subject to conditions. For let-out properties, there is no cap. These deductions significantly reduce the taxable income and are crucial for tax planning. Special rules apply for interest deduction in case of loans taken before 1999 or if construction is delayed. If the loan was taken before April 1, 1999 or construction is not completed within 5 years, the maximum deduction drops to Rs. 30,000. Always check the loan date and construction timeline to ensure you claim the correct deduction. Suppose you paid Rs. 450,000 as interest during the pre-construction period. You can claim 20% of this amount or Rs. 90,000 each year for 5 years after completion. If you also paid Rs. 150,000 as regular interest in the year, your total deduction for that year is Rs. 240,000, subject to the overall cap for self-occupied properties. This example shows how to maximize your deduction. Payments for insurance premiums and repairs are not separately deductible from income under the head house property. The standard deduction of 30% is meant to cover these expenses. This simplifies the process and avoids the need for detailed expense tracking. Always remember to claim only the standard deduction for these costs. Summary: income from house property is calculated based on the annual value, adjusted for unrealized rent and vacancy, with deductions for municipal taxes, standard deduction, and interest on borrowed capital. Understanding each step and the relevant conditions ensures accurate tax computation and maximizes your deductions. Always keep records of rent, taxes, and loan details for smooth filing. Many taxpayers make mistakes such as not accounting for unrealized rent, failing to deduct municipal taxes, or claiming excess interest deduction. Always follow the prescribed calculation steps and check eligibility for each deduction. Staying updated with the latest rules helps avoid penalties and ensures you pay only what is due. Keep detailed records of all rent agreements, municipal tax payments, loan documents, and construction timelines. This documentation is essential for accurate tax filing and for claiming all eligible deductions. Consult a tax professional if you have multiple properties or complex situations to ensure compliance and maximize benefits. Recent amendments have extended the construction completion period from 3 to 5 years for claiming the full interest deduction on self-occupied properties. Always check for the latest updates in tax laws, as these can impact your deductions and overall tax liability. Staying informed ensures you make the most of available benefits. Understanding the rules for income from house property helps you plan your taxes efficiently. By following the correct calculation methods and claiming all eligible deductions, you can reduce your tax burden and stay compliant with the law. Make sure to review your property income details annually and consult experts when needed. Thank you for joining us on this detailed journey through income from house property. With the right knowledge and careful record keeping, you can navigate property taxation with confidence. Remember, the key is to understand each step, stay updated with the law, and seek professional advice for complex cases. Happy filing.